Several years ago, I set out to be an app creator. My idea was that I would make an app that would allow my smartphone to fart. Now, I had never done this before, and so I just made it because I thought it would be funny. But here's what was so crazy about that. I made this app, and I put it on the App Store, and people downloaded it. People started to use it. I started to encounter like random YouTube videos of little kids walking around and making their parents' phones fart, and there were over 1 million people downloaded this app, laughing and making their phones fart. When I made this, I made the app exactly how I wanted, and I wanted people to see that. I wanted people to use it. I wanted people to laugh at it. I made the app the way I wanted it to be. If you've ever made something that you're proud of, what maybe music or maybe a drawing, a creation. If you've ever made something, you know exactly what that's like. You create something, you're proud of it, you want people to see it, you want to show it off, you want people to download it, experience it. And what's really cool is when we learn about God, when we learn about our relationship with God, when we learn about what God does, God is the same way. God creates, God makes things. And one of the first things we ever learn about God in the Bible is He's a creator. That God had a design for things and He liked what He made. A long time ago, in a galaxy far away, there was a summary of the Christian faith. A group of people put together some basic statements of what we believe. And so it was called the Apostles' Creed. The Apostles didn't write it, but it was a basic summary that taught the same things that the early apostles, the early followers of Jesus, that they believed. And so it summarized things. It helped protect early Christians from maybe wrong teachings, or it helped tie groups of Christians together saying, all right, here are some common things that we believe. And so this creed, this statement of faith, it said something important to summarize the Christian faith. In the very beginning of it actually talks about God as the creator. It says, I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. Now that's not a new idea. The creed says it, but the creed is saying that because the Bible says it. The Bible actually says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, let there be light. And so in the very beginning of the Bible, just like the beginning of the creed, it talks about God is creator. God's making stuff. I mean, imagine what it's like at the beginning of creation, that God is just making all these cool things. And so God's like clouds, and boof, there's these clouds. Or God's like mountains, and then there's mountains. God's like hippopotamus, or He's like dogs and cats. Like God makes all these amazing things. All of His creation, God made it. God created it. It was good, except cats. In fact, Genesis even says that God saw that it was good. Now, that's not just true of animals and plants and galaxies. It's true of you also. You are a part of God's creation, that humanity, and specifically you as a human being, that you are a part of God's creation. There's actually a song written about it in the book of Psalms 139, where it says, for you created my inmost being, that God created you, that He knit you together in your mother's womb. Your personality, your talent, your interest, the way you look, all of those things, God knit those together. God created those. God designed those. God made you exactly the way He wants you to be. Now, I don't know about you, but I hear that, and I don't always know if it's true. I don't always believe that I'm exactly the way I should be, because I think about myself. I compare myself to others. I look at other people and think, well, I wish I was more like that. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a phone so I could call her. But that's not what God's thinking. God made you exactly the way He wants you to be. God designed you the way He wants you to be, and He designed you that way for a reason. And this is why that Jesus becomes such an important part of the story, because when God looks at his creation and when sin enters into the story of God's creation, God's not like, well, that piece of art got ruined, I'll just start over. No, God cares so much because he designed you the way he wants you to be that he's going to send Jesus to rescue the people that he loves the most. And so when things go wrong, God's not thinking, I'll just make more. God's thinking, all right, what can I do? These are my children, my creation. How can I do something about this? And that's why the creed, when it says God is the creator, that God's the maker, it's not just that, but he's a father. That God's creation, God's people are also his children. That he loves them as his own children and he would do anything to rescue them. See, everybody looks at themselves. They look at the way they look in the mirror, or the things that they like or don't like, their personalities. And in middle school especially, sometimes you don't always like the person that you look at. You might not like the person you look at. Sometimes you might not feel like anybody else likes that person. You might not like the way you look or the things that you like or your personality. But here's what you need to know. God likes that person. That God not only loves you, he likes you. He's excited about you. He's proud of you. He's designed you that way. And because of Jesus, nothing you ever do will change that. That's what Jesus came for, to make sure that you are always God's child. And so when you start to feel bad about yourself, when you start to look at yourself and don't want to be the way you are, you can also be reminded that God sees you differently, that God is proud of you. So here's a question I want you to think about. What's one thing that would change if you saw yourself the way that God saw you?